Colin Johnson. So his Aboriginal name is Mudroro Narok or Mudroro Nayogan. So Mudrora is a maybe the meaning is paper bark tree, actually paper bark tree. Mudroro Narok or Mudroro Nayogan. Colin Johnson. He's a novelist, Australian novelist and poet. So what he wrote about is the struggles of Aborigines. The struggles of Aborigines, the struggles of Aborigines, Australian Aborigines, and how they were adapting, struggling to adapt in the modern, to the modern society, which is dominated by whites. Okay. Colin Johnson, mostly he wrote about the struggles of Aborigines in the modern society, which is dominated by whites. So, you know, today the Australian society is a multicultural society, but predominantly it is dominated by white people, almost 70 to 80%. It is the white people, settlers from Britain, America, and various other countries. And nowadays we have settlers from Asia also. That is why we are saying today Australia is a multicultural land. So what is the condition of Aborigines today? Maybe that is what this poem is discussing. And let me introduce you to a few of the works of Colin Johnson. Some of his novels, Wild Cat Falling. Okay, Wild Cat Falling, 1965. This is a story of an young outcast, okay, who had his partial heritage or Aboriginal heritage. Maybe you would have heard of stolen generation in Australia, how Aboriginal children were forcibly removed from their parents and they were educated in good missionary schools, and they were slowly, they felt a kind of shame towards their own Aboriginal culture, their heritage, that kind of upbringing, okay, in a westernized setup. So that was that dark period in Australian history where when these children were forcibly removed from their parents. And there is also a problem with this partial ancestry. What is that partial heritage or partial ancestry is? A white man would have married or they had illegal relationship with an Aboriginal women, or sometimes it is vice versa. Most of the time the white men dominated, especially they had illegal relationships with Aboriginal women, and there are many children which are born out of it, and that is a kind of dark period in history, and followed by the stolen generation, which was around 1850s to 1950s, more than half a century it happened, and thousands of people forgot about their own culture, their own Aboriginal heritage, and they were in a very bad psychological state because they were brought up in homes, orphanage homes, and they were brought in a westernized, okay, missionary schools and homes. So that is the condition of the stolen generation. And even Colin Johnson's Aboriginal heritage, Aboriginal ancestry was questioned, and that is why he left Australia. And he also stayed in India for a few years, maybe 6 years, as a Buddhist monk, right? You should know some of the important happenings in his life. And Wild Cat Screaming is one of his novels. And this poem, which we are going to deal with, They Give Jackie Rights, is from the volume, The Song Circle of Jackie. So Jackie is a representative character, an Aboriginal, okay, man. Is an Aborigine, and Jackie is a representation of all the Aborigines, right? Shall we go into the poem? Is everyone there? Right, 36 today. So I'll share the screen. If you can see the screen, the poem. Just chat in the chat box. Tell me. Can you see the poem here? They give Jackie rights. You can also talk to me. Can you see the poem? Yes, they give Jackie rights. Can anyone read the poem? Ezekiel, can you read the poem? Ezekiel John? Not here. Anybody? Anybody? Can you read? They give Jackie rights. Hope the text is visible. Yes. Someone volunteer to read. I don't have time. Please.
They give Jackie rights.
They give
Who is this? Introduce yourself and start reading.
they give Jackie rights. They give Jackie rights like the tiger snake gives rights to its prey. They give Jackie rights like the rifle's sights on its victim. They give Jackie rights like they give rights to the unborn baby ripped from the womb by its uncaring mother.
Continue,
They
Ma.
give Jackie the right to die, the right to consent to mining on his land. They give Jackie the right to watch his sacred dreaming place become a hole. His soul dies, his ancestors cry. His soul dies, his ancestors cry. They give Jackie his rights, a hole in the ground.
Continue, complete.
Justice for all, Jackie kneels and prays. Justice for all, they dig holes in his earth. Justice for all, they give him his rights. A flagon, a
The
flagon
flagon
of
of
cheap wine to dull his pain, and his woman has to sell herself for that. Justice for all, they give him his rights. A hole in the ground to hide his mistrust and fear. What can Jackie do but struggle on and on? The spirits of his dreaming keep him strong.
yeah. Thank you. Who is this?
Sir, Ajita, sir.
Okay, thank you. Good reading. Yes. They give Jackie rights. Right? Did you follow the text? So they give Jackie rights. You see a lot of repetition there. They give Jackie rights is repeated again and again. Right? I told you who is Jackie, a representative of the Aborigines. Right? Jackie is an Aborigine, and he is also a representation of all the Aborigines of Australia. And what is the state of Aborigines today in a modern society? Maybe this poem is a kind of irony, right? Again and again, something is repeated. So, what is then when something is repeated again and again? What does it mean? What is an irony? Can anyone uh, say what is an irony? And in the context of this poem, can you explain irony? It's simple, you can guess. I told you irony. I told you there is repetition. They give Jackie rights. They give Jackie rights. So what does it actually mean? If you know what is an irony, you can very well explain that. No idea? You can also chat in the chat box. Right? Okay. So they give Jackie rights. They give Jackie rights. Are they really giving Jackie rights? No, they are not giving Jackie rights. He is deprived of his rights. See, that's the irony here. See, when something is repeated again and again, maybe it's maybe irony is always used in a humorous situation most of the time. And here you can see he is not really given his rights. Aborigines are not really given their rights in the modern society, right? But the government, the white-dominated government, the white-dominated society always says that Aborigines are given their rights, right? So this poem is a kind of uh, maybe tracing the past, the historical past of Aborigines and their life, as well as it moves from past to present, right? And a kind of past and present together also. It pictures that. And he finally, at the end of the poem, he anchors his beliefs. Maybe his anchor is the beliefs he had, the Aborigines had in the spiritual connection they had with the land or the dream time. That is how it ends. Okay, I'll speak more about it maybe later on as we discuss the poem. So they give Jackie rights, like the tiger snake gives rights to its prey. So what is that? They give Jackie rights. The whites, they give Jackie rights, like the tiger snake gives rights to its prey. Tiger snake is a venomous snake in the southern Australia. Like the tiger snake gives rights to its prey. But finally, the tiger snake is going to eat its prey. Okay, it is going to eat its prey. Like that, they are just giving him rights, but actually they are not giving him rights. They give Jackie rights, like the rifle sights on its victims, like the rifle sights on its victims. They give Jackie rights, like they give rights to the unborn baby, ripped from the womb by its uncaring mother. Right? Like they give Jackie rights, like see how he is comparing. Like they give Jackie rights to the unborn baby, right? Ripped from the womb by its uncaring mother, right? They are ripped of their ancestry, they are ripped of their culture, right? They are ripped of their identity, like how the uncaring mother, okay, rips off the unborn baby. The whites are handling the Aborigines of Australia, right? They give Jackie the right to die. So who is them? Who is this man or who is this white people who are giving rights for the Aborigines to die, right? They give Jackie the right to die, the right to consent to mining on his land. Whose land is this? So we have to question that. Whose land is this? This is the land of the Aborigines. This is the land of the natives. This is the land of the indigenous people, right? This is the land of the Aborigines who are there thousands and thousands of years, 65,000, more than 65,000 years. They were the natives. They were the natives of the land. Someone intruded and they wanted to dominate this land. And maybe they are giving consent to mining on his land. The white is giving consent. The whites are giving consent to mining on his land. And they give Jackie the right to watch. The right to watch. See the status of Aborigines today. In their own land, they are aliens today. And their own land is completely changed. The topography of the land is changed. Everything is changed because of commodification, because of rapid exploitation of the land, maybe for industrialization as well as urbanization, and especially for gold mining. See, during 1850s, this gold rush started and many people migrated to Australia from Britain, and that was considered to be a great fortune. And gold mining, and many people wanted to go to Australia to take gold. And all those Borah Grounds, the sacred Borah rings, Borah Grounds, the rings are the, okay, sacred space. And there is a ring, there's a kind of circle in which the sacred space is protected. And I told you, as I told you, these Borah rings, the Borah ground, the sacred space is for various ceremonies and rituals where the boys are initiated. They are taught Aboriginal secrets to grow up as a man. Okay, as a man, as an Aboriginal man. So that's an initiation ceremony that happens in the sacred Borah ring. So what is there in these Borah rings, Borah grounds? Sacred Borah grounds. Now a hole is digged in these, okay, Borah grounds. A hole is digged in these Borah grounds today. And only that remains is the hole. See, I told you, once the land is lost, their connection with the land is lost. They are no more able to, okay, identify. Maybe they were there's a kind of cultural disruption. I said the cultural disruption that happened. Now, still, they hope to. They have this belief and the strong beliefs in their spiritual connection with that land. That is their only hope. You can see. Maybe we will see more about it. Is sacred dreaming place, as I told you, is sacred dreaming place became a home. Is sacred dreaming place, that dream time where this sacred space, this Borah grounds, where they initiate and where they had this dream time experience. As I told you, Aborigines had their own worldviews, their creation stories. They connect with their ancestors. They connect with their ancestral spirits. They connect with even animal spirits. And this dream time place, this dreaming place, everything in Australia is sacred to them. A stone, a creek, a river, a mountain, okay, the animals, the entire landscape is sacred for Aborigines. So now, today, in the modern society, the whole space is commodified. Okay, urbanization, rapid urbanization and rapid exploitation for gold mining. That has happened. And he says, his sacred dreaming place become a home. His soul cries, his ancestors cries. See, that is where their ancestors lived, and their ancestors are still living. That's a kind of thing. And that is where they connected with their ancestors. Now, the only thing that remains there is a home. His soul dies, his ancestors cry. His soul dies, his ancestors cry. They give Jacky his rights. They give Jacky his rights. See, again and again it is repeated. Now can you say, anyone, can you respond, what does this mean? They give Jacky rights. I told you already. A hole in the ground. A hole in the ground. He prays justice for all. Justice for all. Jacky kneels and prays. Can you respond? Can you just understand and try to respond what I have told you? Maybe this repetition, right, is the irony here. Who is the victim here? Jacky is the victim, right? And whose land? It is the Aborigines' land. But who is dominating? The white people are dominating. So this poem, you can see there is a reference to the past as well as the present, and the past and the present is handled together. Justice for all, he says. Jacky kneels and prays. Justice for all. They dig holes in his earth. They dig holes in his earth. See, this process exploitation of gold mining. See, all these people are now even working. Aborigines are working in these gold mines for money. They have to survive. See the status of Aborigines. They have to work in their own land for their survival. Many of them are poor. They don't have any source of income. And see their status today, how they have to fend for themselves. And they are to dig their holes in their own sacred space. See, that is the most cruel thing that to happen to a society that has some deep connection, that has a deep connection with the land, right? Justice for all, they give him his rights. See, again and again, you see, they give him his rights, they give him his rights, the Jackie rights, but they are not giving his rights. They are not giving his rights. So that is the irony of the poem, right? You would have heard this similar statements in uh, Antony, uh, Antony's speech, right? And Brutus is a honorable man. Irony is used there, and Brutus is a honorable man. Brutus is a murderer. That is what Antony means to the crowd, to the mob. So, see, writers are using irony, okay, to maybe exaggerate and also show the truth. What is the truth here? Okay, in this poem, the truth is that the aborigines are victims. Even today, the aborigines are victims. The government is trying to do a lot of things, and the white people are trying to reconciliate. A kind of reconciliation happened, but nothing is working out. Still, the aborigines are discriminated, right? Still, the aborigines are defend. They are poor. They have to work, and they have to fend for them. Maybe they have to work under the whites, and they have to dig holes for gold mining. So that is their fate. Justice for all, they give him his rights. A flagon of cheap wine, to dull his pain. Maybe he has worked hard, digging the hole, and all the pain that he experiences, he is intoxicated with liquor, right? The cheap wine. See, when the British introduced liquor, okay, to these natives, and they got intoxicated and they get even addicted to liquor, and maybe to dull his pain, right? Sometimes it happens that he has to send his women. He has to send his women to the white man to sell herself. He has to sell his women to the white man to get a gallon of wine, a flagon of wine. See, that is the kind of, okay, poor state in which aborigines are living, and how they are intoxicated with this cheap wine. Justice for all, they give him his rights. A hole in the ground to hide his mistrust. A hole in the ground to hide his mistrust and fear. A hole in the ground to hide his mistrust and fear. Right? To hide his mistrust and fear. What can Jackie do? What can Jackie do? But struggle on and on. What can Jackie do? He cannot do anything. See, that is what we say, silent. Aborigines are silent and subdued in the previous poem. They are voiceless, right? They can the subaltern speak. You can relate this aspect that they don't have voice to speak. They cannot speak. Subaltern cannot speak, right? The aborigines are the subalterns. And you can also see this from a poem from a human rights perspective. See, they are semi-naked, right? Uncivilized. They are not considered as humans at all, right? They are not considered as humans at all. Semi-naked people, uncivilized people, they are considered to be less than humans. In the eyes of the whites, they are not at all humans. They are like animals. That is how they are treated. That is how they are exploited. This spirits of his dreaming keep him strong. See, that is how positively this poem ends positively. The spirits of his dreaming keep him strong. The dream time, okay, the belief in the spirits they had, their ancestral spirits, which they considered as their creators. The spirits of his dreaming keep him strong. Say, Colin Johnson beautifully he ends this poem. The spirits of his dreaming keep him strong. Let the spirits, okay, keep him strong in this time, even in this bad state, or the time when they are to, okay, leave their own land and suffer in their own land. Many have left and many are suffering in their own land, right? And let the dreaming keep him strong. Let their spirits keep him strong. So that is, that ends with a positive note that even aborigines have lost their land, they have lost their Aboriginal way of life, but still their belief and their dreaming, their spiritual connection, okay, can be regained. It is possible, right? This dreaming can happen. It's all in their mind. It's all in their belief. But aborigines, they hold on to their dreaming. They hold on to their spiritual, communion, spiritual connection with the land. Even though the land has changed completely, but still they have hope. They have hope in this land, right? They can try to revive. Okay, maybe in the previous poem we discussed that maybe it is not completely, it's not impossible, but we said that it is not at all possible because of the uh, changes that has happened in the land, as well as their own uh, maybe a sense of shame towards their land. Okay, most of the aborigines have changed because of the stolen generation and various things that happened after that. Maybe they also developed a sense of shame towards their own indigenous native culture because of that. And slowly, many of them moved to the Western way of life for want of money. Maybe from the process of commodification, they changed, right? We are living in an anarchic society where everything is seen in terms of material wealth. And as we saw in the Canadian poem, the Red Indians, how they have to sell their own products, they have to showcase their own talents, their products. Similarly, it has happened for Australia also, for the Australian Aborigines also. Everything is for the tourists to see. See, that is their state. But still, nobody can destroy their knowledge or the wisdom they have developed over thousands of years, right? The great indigenous wisdom they have and the spiritual connection to the land, it is still there. It is still there. It is possible for them to regain that. So the spirits of his dreaming, keep him strong. Let him be strong even in this situation. So that is how Colin Johnson positively ends the poem. And I also want to say more about how these people were exploited, right? Aborigines were exploited. And even their own knowledge, their indigenous wisdom and knowledge were exploited by the whites. Right? They are used for digging holes for gold mining. And the indigenous people's wisdom and knowledge were exploited, for business, for white people to gain profit. So see how they have to sell themselves to the whites, and they have to sell their women for a flagon of wine. That is their state. That is the state. But still, they have hope. They have hope in their indigenous wisdom. They have hope in their spirits. The dream time that is still there. See, if a nation, if a community loses its culture, right? If a community loses its even language, for that matter, they have their own distinct language. I told you, maybe more than 250 to 300 tribes. Each one, they have their own distinct dialects, distinct language. Their culture and language, when it is lost, there is a loss of wisdom. You have to understand. There is a loss of knowledge and wisdom that has accumulated over thousands of years. See, that is why we have all this fight over language. Language is very important, that every word in a language is loaded with culture. That is why we fight for Tamil language, right? If a language dies, even the culture associated with the language dies. Slowly it dies. That the Aboriginal culture is very important. And when I was discussing about the Canadian history, and I told you how this indigenous knowledge and wisdom can be still used today, right, for addressing ecological crisis, as well as for um, maybe living a healthy connection with the land. Maybe whites and all of us can learn a lot from the indigenous wisdom that has developed over a period of time. So I told you the difference between knowledge and wisdom. What is knowledge? What is wisdom? I hope I discussed with you. Did I? What is the difference between knowledge and wisdom? Westerners had knowledge, right? So many techniques, so many things, even modern technologies. Everything is the invention of science, invention of Westerners. Can anyone respond? What is the difference between knowledge and wisdom? Hmm? Kevin, Genesis. Simple question, ma. MA class. Read பண்றதுக்கு லேட் ஆகுது. Knowledge and wisdom, அவ்வளவுதான் கேட்டேன். I think I've asked the same question already. What is the difference between knowledge and wisdom? Sanmati, not here.
Sir, I texted.
Sir, people have texted in the comment section.
பேசினா என்னப்பா இது குறைஞ்சிருமா? வீடியோ ஆன் பண்ணா உங்களுக்கு ஜிபி குறைஞ்சிரும், எம்பி.
Sir.
Right. Thank you. Thank you. Knowledge is nothing but the facts known by a person, whereas wisdom is the combination of experience and knowledge with the power of applying them to soundness of judgment. And very good. Who is 114? Knowledge is the info that we gather. Wisdom is wise application of it. Knowledge we gain from the books. Wisdom is a gift from God. That's great. Who is 114, 113, 117, 105? Genesis. Good, Genesis. Knowledge we gain from books. Wisdom. Right. Most of the knowledge we have gained is through books. But aborigines, they had experience by living in the land, by living with nature. Through thousands of years, they have gained this experience, right? In close communion with nature, they have gained this knowledge. Even talking about tribal people all over the world, they have gained this rare wisdom and knowledge through experience, right? Experience matters, the practical knowledge. We don't have that knowledge. We have to learn from these people, the aborigines, the tribal people, right? Even we talk about sages and holy people who gain a lot of wisdom, right? From living in the mountains. Wisdom is not doing the same mistake, right? Wisdom is by experience, what you gain by experience. And these people have gained a lot of experience in communion with the land, in close communion with the land. So the more we go into maybe civilization and materialism, and we are disconnected from the land, right? We are disconnected from the land. So maybe we can also try to regain this lost connection by connecting with the land. It's possible. We have to move towards that. At least through our everyday experiences, small momentary experiences, we can try to do that. At least we can feel that connection, right? These people have gained that wisdom. And I told you that these people have special knowledge of how to survive in the harsh, Canadian landscape, for that matter, the First Peoples of Canada. The aborigines, they know how to tap water from the harsh dry bush landscape, which the white people are not aware of. They every time when you see, even in Australia as well as in Canada, they have struggled to survive. White people, they have struggled to survive. It's a harsh landscape. Of course, still it was exotic to them, but they don't have the knowledge. They don't have the wisdom. Even they had knowledge. With all the knowledge they had, they organized, they Maybe they set up all those gold mining factories and urbanization. Everything is there today, but still they are not considering this indigenous wisdom these people had. But it is time that we have to give regards, we have to give respects, as well as consider these people in the mainstream. We have to bring them in the mainstream, and also we have to learn a lot from these people, the indigenous people all over the world, for that matter, I would say, and the indigenous people, especially in Australia, and their rights, their wisdom should be preserved, and maybe it should become a lived experience, a lived culture, a living culture, right? That is what we are hoping to, right? The poem ends with a positive note, right? The poem ends with a positive note. That's good, right? Any discussions, any clarifications, any questions you can put in the chat box. Hope you have understood clearly. Hope I have explained maybe as much as possible. I have tried my best to explain this poem. Hope you are clear about what this poem is about, the irony used in the poem, as well as who is Jackie and what he represents. Right? You can also read a lot about the Australian history, the Aborigines, if you are interested. Get to know more about them. Maybe if time permits, I will try to maybe cover the history of Australia, and especially the Aboriginal history as well. Okay. Any questions? See, if anyone is absent, I have recorded my videos. You can also request for the video. Maybe I will share the video for those who are absent today or yesterday. Okay. Take rest. Meet you in the next class. Thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you, sir.